everybody, and welcome to Nerdsplaining Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Da Silva. With me, as always, is my co-host, Jose Romero.
What up, man? How you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing real good. This has been a really fun week of things that I didn't expect to see, and so I'm pleasantly surprised. And whenever I'm in a good mood, it's usually because we got some fun stuff to talk about. Most of it, we'll get into it specifically. I think there's one that really just pissed me off in terms of like not doing the thing I thought they could do, but we're gonna get to that. But that's my own personal
It didn't
issue.
deliver. I think I have an idea what
Did
you're
not
talking about. Yeah.
did not
Okay.
deliver. It did not
Okay.
stand and deliver. It was the opposite of Edward James Olmos. It did not stand and deliver.
That's a deep cut right there.
See,
Jeez.
there you go.
It's
For
probably
for
two
people
people
who
who
grew up watching
know that reference.
HBO in 1989, you know what I'm talking about. That one was for you.
Oh man, I hear you, man. It's actually a lot of stuff to talk about, and actually,
I know.
I'm in a really good mood because I texted you a couple of days ago that I was going to get a chance to see Shang-Chi,
You
to
bragger.
pronounce
Yeah.
it correctly, yesterday, so I did get to see it. Very
So
excited. So it's always good to see a movie like 3 weeks early. It's kind of cool, right?
okay, whatever. Yes, but that's part of the reason why people watch our show, to get the early scoop on things. And
Sure.
we're not going to spoil it because
No,
I
this
haven't
is
seen
spoiler,
it
and
yet.
it's funny because it's still under a review embargo. Only social
Okay.
media reactions are allowed.
Okay.
I sometimes I don't know what the difference is. Whatever. My full review will be up. I think the embargo lives on Monday at 12 o'clock Eastern time.
This coming Monday.
This coming
Or the
Monday.
Monday.
So yeah,
Well, so when is the movie released though?
the September 3rd.
September 3rd. Okay,
Right.
so
So still a couple weeks
so
away.
so you'll do the full review on
Yeah,
your
Monday.
show,
Yeah.
which is called.
But it's just the review show. Just it's just a review for the movie. Just same
Okay.
network, Latin Nerds Network, but just a review. So it's just myself. I was the only one who saw it.
Sure.
And so a full review, I already have it ready to rock. It's scheduled to release at that time. So that being
Fantastic.
said, I can't get too detailed. 'Cause I know, and I have an experience in the past before where they've had embargoes, and you give a certain review, they'll take it down.
Oh, really?
Disney does, and then they'll pop it back up for you when it's time. So I don't want this video to get taken
Oh,
down.
how
So I'll
sweet!
keep this
Right, it's very nice of them.
very
Like,
nice.
we'll
How
just put this
kind.
over here for now
Yeah.
until you're ready to act
Damn.
like a big boy.
Damn
Okay.
Disney. So I'll keep this very vague, right?
Sure.
And I'm sure you and I are going to do a spoiler
Oh yeah.
review of it. I don't know if you're going to watch it in the theaters or not. And I don't.
I am. I am going to watch the theater.
Okay, good.
Only because, from what I've heard from other people, it seems to be better than expected.
It's funny. I'll say this because
Oh, okay. I'm aware
and
now.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
there we
give everyone some insight because I've talked to a lot of
All right.
reviewers. Those who actually get to go to some of these premieres, and
Sure.
I've had conversations with them and about this
All right.
very subject because for some reason this happened with Black Widow, just as a recent example, where
Okay.
that initial premiere, right, in Hollywood, New York, whatever,
Right.
and it's invite only. Disney picks and chooses who they invite to some of these things.
Sure.
So it's a lot of reviewers they favor or give them kind words every so often, right? So they want to keep those
Sure.
people coming.
Absolutely.
That being said, right, and I've heard this firsthand that, if Black Widow, I think you remember the reaction. They were like, "Oh my God, it's great!" I heard like top 5 Marvel
Yeah,
film.
I knew that wasn't. I mean,
Nonsense, right?
Yeah.
Nonsense. Right.
No,
We
yeah.
saw the movie. No, it's not a bad movie, but let's get
Right. Yeah.
now, this one, same thing. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing. The action, oh, it's incredible. Yada, yada. The same kind of reaction. So buyer beware because this is better than Black Widow. Right?
Which is already.
But the hype, I mean, there's a guy, me and Peter, who's been on the show before in our first episode. And we're talking about this guy who, he watches, I used to watch him, I don't watch him that much. I wouldn't say his name, but he came out and he saw it twice. He gave his reaction the first time. Then someone he does his show with, took him again on Wednesday. And
Okay.
they both had similar reactions. Now, this guy, all right, and a lot of people I know will make fun of it, but he was saying that, oh, it's the greatest comic book film since Logan.
That's a bold statement.
Really, and his partner
That's a
who hadn't
bold
seen it yet was
statement.
like, you better on Endgame and Infinity and Spider-Verse, and this guy loves Spider-Verse. He's like, I bet on all that. Okay, and he says the best action since the Raid. Slow,
Which is
Which is
a
bonkers.
ballsy statement. That's a ballsy
about. I'm
statement.
like, really? And maybe people
Right.
are laughing. He's like, come on. And a lot of reactions are not to that degree. That's
Right.
very far. But listen, there are exaggerations. Okay, so
Sure,
keep
of
that
course.
in mind. Okay, and the reviewers, it's funny because they don't do it on purpose. They feel kind of obligated to give a good word on the film because they
Okay.
want to get invited back to these
Right.
Disney premieres. So they don't want if
Sure.
they're afraid if they bag on it, they're not going to get invited. So I get it. I do get it. And
But I've read some bad reviews as well that they said like there's like some pacing issues here and there.
There are.
But overall,
There are some good people in there who just speak their mind. But for the most part, it's overwhelmingly glowing, right? Not
Right.
again, it's a good film, but yeah, and they have a need, like, they get fed and wine and dine, the carpet, the stars. They get
Sure.
caught up in the glitz and glamour, and they just kind of just, oh my god, and they explode after the theater, right? The crowd's
I
into
feel the
it,
same way
you know.
when I go to an all-you-can-eat sushi. I feel the same way.
Yeah. But some of the sushi sucks. But so, take that, all that what you heard with a grain of salt. Listen, for me, quick reaction, good film. It's second tier Marvel film. A lot of good stuff in it. There are some issues. Third act, whatever. I'll say this though, the action is particularly early on is awesome. And
Okay.
you're a martial arts guy, right? You love
Yeah.
a good martial arts
Love
film,
kung
right?
fu movies are my jam of all
Right.
sorts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really well done. Really well shot and executed. So I was really happy about that.
Let
You're gonna like this
let
film for sure.
let me ask you this. Uh, let's remove Logan and Endgame out of the way. Okay. Would you compare it in terms of kung fu movies now on
Okay.
being the caliber of like The Matrix, the first one?
No.
No. So The Matrix is better than
Yeah,
Shang-Chi.
the Matrix gave us some cool stuff. Not just the kung fu, but the style of the film. With
Right.
the way it's shot. It was just
Sure.
cool, innovative, right? We hadn't seen
Right.
something like that, taking that Asian style and incorporating some Hollywood glitz behind it.
Sure.
It's not like that. It's not. I don't think the action for me in John Wick is better.
Oh,
Right.
okay. All right.
But that John Wick is awesome. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
it's not a
So,
knock on Shang. It's not. Believe me.
I don't know. I
The
know.
action is really cool and it's really well shot. The camera work is excellent. Excellent in
Okay.
this. Which is great because sometimes see the fighting scenes, the shaking cam and all this crap. You
Right.
can't see what quick edits. You don't get that here. So it's cool. Right? Very, I'll say it shares that that perspective with the Ray, where the same thing was like long shots, single shots. You can see the action.
So they have those
It's not
tracking
the
shots
raid.
where it's,
Yeah, and it'll
but it's
follow
not
them,
the
track
raid.
them.
But they
Yeah,
have
it's
those
not the
like
raid.
one, but it has a little bit of a raid
A
feel.
little bit, yes. There's some influence there, absolutely. And it's
Not as
influences.
violent though, right? Because the raid, I
Oh no,
think
no,
part
no!
of
Of course
right,
not. I mean, and you've
right,
seen Warrior, right? Warrior's
yeah, of
badass,
course,
right?
yeah, of
Fantastic.
course,
It's
right,
Warrior fight scenes are better. But again, Warriors, it's a Warrior. You know what I'm saying? Let's be real. So it's not
right.
knocking the film, but it's very cool, very cool. Some of those CGI with the fighting, whatever, it's fine. Not a big deal.
Sure, sure.
It happens, but I mean, it's really well done. There, I guess it's not to the level. So I just want like for yourself to kind of maintain. I think you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna think it's really good.
Okay.
I'd be shocked if you come back and tell me it's first tier Marvel.
So like
It's not like it's not Thor Ragnarok. It's not Winter Soldier. It's not to that level, but it's definitely probably better than
so
Doctor Strange. I think for me personally,
better than Doctor Strange. Okay,
I wasn't a huge
that's.
Doctor Strange fan though, to be
Oh,
honest with you. But
I really like Doctor Strange. I thought Doctor Strange
I
was
was
a lot
talking
of
to
fun.
Peter because he called me yesterday after the film. I was talking to him about it, and I would say it's near top 10 area. So it's good, which is a good thing. Right?
Yeah,
It's a second level. I mean, everyone's taste is different. I get it, but it's definitely not it's not top 5, not top 7.
but we could say it's better than Black Widow, better than Thor:
Dude,
The Dark World,
way better than that. Obviously, yes.
better than Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Yes, because that movie disappointed me.
I feel the same way
You know
about
what I'm
that. Where
saying?
it was
Yeah.
like when I first watched it, I was very on the fence. I learned to like it later on, but at first I was a bit like one thing I think I overhyped it in my head for that situation. But
Right. We were hyped, and I was hyped to see that film. So
yeah,
it was a little bit let down. It was not that it was terrible, but it was just.
right.
But it's there. Like if you, bottom top again. It's just not. It's not Thor Ragnarok. It's not the Avengers. Endgame, Infinity Wars. I don't think it's as good as Black Panther. It's close, but I think Black Panther is a better movie than this.
Okay, I mean, but that's
But
to be close to Black Panther is
that's what I'm
pretty
saying. It's
fucking
good.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you put a top 10, I get it. I'm putting many routes. I got to look at it. I mean, I don't want to do a knee jerk reaction, right? But I'm just saying
Sure,
it didn't blow me away, but it's really cool. It's fun. It's a good film, man. It's very
but
entertaining. I liked it a lot.
definite fun watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Like for me, I highly recommend. Absolutely. It's just
And
not. Oh my god, not gonna come out
right,
of there doing cartwheels. Oh my god, it's the greatest thing. It's
yeah,
not.
because
It's not the best since Logan. Just
yeah,
calm
I
down.
read the Logan review and I was like, that's a real
That's
bold
a bold
statement.
statement. I mean, come
That's
on, I mean,
because
really.
like Logan is the kind of movie you could show people who aren't into superhero movies. You go, just watch this movie, and you're like, oh,
Right,
it's like a
right.
sci-fi
Yeah.
western, and you'll take it as
And
that.
I said, and there's a lot of good movies that come since Logan.
Right,
Black Panther and the Infinity War saga, the
right,
last two, and Spider Verse. I love Spider Verse.
so good.
There's a lot of even Suicide Squad. It's really good, right? We both like that
Would
movie.
you say it's on par with Suicide Squad?
it's hard. It's so different. It's hard to tell because it's
Okay.
just it's easy to compare Marvel movies because they all kind of have the same style and look,
Right.
But it's different. It's so different. I mean, I don't know.
All right.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I'd have to see Shang-Chi again to really
Okay.
say, okay, let me take it in,
I
But it's
totally
good.
understand.
Yeah, you guys are gonna enjoy it. It's really cool. You're gonna like it. I can't wait to really take a deep dive into this with you
Yeah.
because there's some good stuff to talk about and break down. So yeah, but overall,
Cool. That sounds
definitely a
awesome.
lot of fun. Yeah, yeah.
I'm glad because I will be honest, as much as or because I love kung fu movies so much,
Mhm.
but I was really excited to see this. But then I also had like fresh emotional scarring from Iron Fist, and I was like,
Oh
oh
no,
man,
dude,
does
stop. No, no, this is no.
so. I was a little bit. I didn't
No.
know how to feel, and then I read some of their reviews, and I was like,
This
the
is
fact.
definitely the best martial arts the MCU has had since Iron Fist. I think it's
But
fair
that's
to
not
say.
saying much. That's not saying much
I'm
at all.
just
Let's
saying
be
it
honest
is.
about it.
It's a fact. I get
All
it.
right, yeah,
But no, yeah, you're gonna enjoy it. I really
cool,
want to take a deep dive into this film. I can't
cool.
do that, and I obviously haven't seen it yet. So, but
So in September we will
yeah,
go deep dive. But if you guys
yeah,
want to know all about it before you watch
yeah,
it, don't forget to see Jose's review on
yeah.
Monday.
Two end credit scenes. One is great. Like really
That's
good, and I
that's
want
pretty
to pick
awesome.
it, and that's one I really want to pick your brain at, and you're
Okay,
gonna be like, oh, that's really cool. So I can't, like, I'm like,
I'm pretty excited. I'm
damn
pretty
it, I need
excited.
someone to talk to about this. So
Okay,
that being said,
gotcha,
the movie
gotcha.
comes out September 3rd. I think Labor Day weekend, couple
Yeah,
weeks. We'll do a quick review. I'm sure you're gonna watch it that weekend. We'll do it as soon as
yes,
you watch it. Boom, we'll get a video out to you guys and really break down the film because there's a lot of cool stuff, Easter eggs and stuff that has meaning down the road for the MCU. So that's
cool,
cool. Yeah,
awesome,
so either way. But yeah, so good stuff. So
awesome.
let's get on to the other nerdy nuggets, man. There's a lot of other, a couple of cool stuff that we saw, a lot of Marvel related stuff,
Yeah.
and Disney, of course, because whatever, it is Disney. But there's one thing here, Marvel, and this is a story I think makes you kind of sad.
Yes, not kind of, very.
Kind of very
It's
sad,
it's
yeah.
not the worst news, but
No, 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 of
it's
course
like
not.
it's like if someone took a balloon and let a little bit of air out, so it just comes out like a fire, and then like, oh man, I kind of wanted the
Wah, wah,
balloon to be big, but it's a
wah. I
so
get it. And
yes,
this was, of course, Jonathan Hickman,
yes,
who
Jonathan
was
Hickman.
yeah, writers of the House of X and Powers of X, of course, in the Marvel
He
comic
he
books.
was essentially the head of all the X titles since he's rebooted the X-Men concept or took it to the next phase. Not
Mhm.
rebooted, but he evolved the concept of the X-Men to the next phase. And he was writing X-Men, the core title, and after issue 21, he took a break because he said he needed to work on the upcoming new X-Men event miniseries called Inferno. And there's already been an Inferno event back in the 80s, which actually is the event I got into X-Men when it came out. So Inferno means a lot to me. So I was like super excited that Jonathan Hickman's going to do his version of Inferno because Jonathan Hickman does this thing where he will take over a title and then reintroduce events that I've done before, but his version, like there was a Secret Wars title, but he did his version of Secret Wars, and that was the end of his culmination of doing the Avengers and that kind of stuff. And now he is doing Inferno, which are 4 issues, but each issue is 48 pages, which is basically 2 comic books. So he's doing 8 comic books into 4 issues, and it starts coming out, I believe, in November. And it's been really exciting. But recently, it announced that Jonathan Hickman signed a deal with this new company called Showstack, I believe it is, and they're a letter, a newsletter company. You know, like if you follow a company, you have your personal newsletter to see what's
Mhm.
going on. So they're now doing comic books, and they hired the guy who wrote Secret Invasion, not Secret Invasion, uh, Secret Empire, which is the one that where it turned out that Captain America was secretly a Hydra agent because his history got changed from by using the cosmic cube. It was a good story, but it came out at the wrong time because it was right when Trump became president. So it was just a really bad timing of like people like, no, all this doesn't feel right now. And then he's writing Spider-Man right now, but he's actually leaving Spider-Man because he's going to be the managing editor for the comic book side, and he basically hit up all the big comic book writers and artists from Marvel and DC and said, they're going to give you money and you get to own your property. So go do this. So, like, not everybody, but like say a third of the people who took up the offer are like leaving their titles. And Jonathan Hickman said he's going to take a leave of absence from the X-Men after the Inferno, which is such a bummer. But he explained 2 things. He said that he originally created the idea for what he wanted to do the X-Men was a 3-act structure. And as things were going, he changed plans, or they brought in different writers, or this, that, and the other. And as he was getting ready to move to the second act, he hit up all the writers and all the other titles that he brought in. He goes, "Are you guys ready to move on?" And they said, "No, we actually have a lot of ideas. We want to stay here." So he says, well, "Cool. Well, if you guys want to stay here, I got to go do this thing. So I'll leave. You guys do this, but I'm gonna go. I'm actually still working for Marvel, and I'm working on for a new title for 2022 in Marvel. That's going to be a weekly comic book that's going to lead to our next big Marvel wide event." So he's not
Okay, that's
he's
pretty
not
cool.
leaving X-Men and Marvel, but he's taking a break from being the head of the X department. But
Hmm.
he said that when they get to the second phase of his idea, whenever there's ready to move on to the third, that's when he'll come back because he wants to stick the landing on the third act.
That's
So
so that's a good thing. I mean, it's a little
it's
bittersweet
good,
thing.
but
It's not sad
it's
news per
bittersweet.
se.
It's bittersweet
Bittersweet. That's fair.
because he's such a like his writing. The thing about Jonathan Hickman that makes his writing so much fun is that it reads clunky until you're like 6 issues deep and you realize, oh shit, he's been dropping nuggets and little Easter eggs all over. And then when the 6th issue, you're like, oh my god, it all matters, and it's amazing. But and I love that about it, and I'm a little bummed out that I'm gonna not have that because when he did Fantastic Four and X-Men, he was in it the whole way, so you got to experience all of it. And as much as I'm bummed out about it, like I just found out that when he did the that big Hellfire Gala event that ended with Planet Size X-Men #1, where the X-Men terraformed Mars and made it their own planet, that wasn't even his idea. That was the idea of the guy who's currently writing the new X-Men title. So that gives me a lot of like, oh, cool. So there's actually guys who are bringing really big fucking ideas to the title that aren't Jonathan Hickman. So that made me feel a little bit more assured. But you know, I want my cheeseburger with the cheese I like. And if I don't get the cheese I like, I'll still eat it. It'll probably be still delicious, but I want that cheese. So that's my main complaint. But I'm glad that he's not totally leaving Marvel because I feel like Jonathan Hickman is Jonathan Hickman is the Rock of Marvel Comics. He makes
Wow.
everything go down better.
He's comic ketchup. Is that
He's
what he is?
comic ketchup, man. He
Okay.
knows how to come in and take a premise and go, "Oh, you mean like this?" You're like, "Oh shit, I never thought it could be that way." And it's great. So I'm glad that he's not totally leaving, but I'm bummed out that I won't have a direct title with him in Marvel for some time. But I'm glad that it's in capable hands, not equal hands, but capable
Right.
until he's ready to come back. So, but that took me some time to process. And I know there's people out there who are like, I'm gonna stop reading X. But like, it's not the end of the world. Like, there's still good stuff out there. They're still like going under the edict of what he set up, but it's a little bit of a bummer that he's not going to be there every step of the way. So that's it.
But I do got some news that's going to cheer you up a little bit.
All right,
Okay. So, and
sure.
that is a trailer for Star Wars Visions, which dropped. That's
That's
going to be the anime kind of anthology series. We saw kind of a teaser a few weeks ago and we talked
right.
about it. But we finally got the full trailer. We got a lot more footage of what we're expecting to see
Oh
here.
yeah,
So, and I gotta say, man, this looks pretty cool, man.
dude.
I like what I saw initially. I like the style and animation, different styles, a lot of cool like Jedi shit going on here. It's kind of mind blowing. I'm really excited about this. What do you
Yeah.
think, man?
I thought it was great. I was surprised that they made furries into cool Jedi's. Like I was like,
Yeah, I
oh wow,
know.
this is
Yeah,
like bravo, sir. Like unfortunately, I know when I go to cons, there's gonna be some dudes dressed like that. I'm like, get away from me and my kids. But that being said, I think it's almost worth it because it looks really awesome.
it does, man. And I have a picture. You can't see it, but like when the Jedi's holding this kind of staff with multiple lightsabers,
Oh
like red
yeah,
lights.
dude,
Dude,
that
there's a
was
lot of
so
cool shit.
cool.
Really
That
cool.
was
Like we
so
probably will never
cool.
get to see in whether it be in the shows or some other animated shows. But yeah, and I think they're really taking some chances here, and I love that. Give us something different. I don't mind it.
Dude,
It's not canon. It's great, just individual stories, and
I
bring it
mean,
on,
it's
man. It looks fascinating.
essentially it's like what if for Star
Yeah,
Wars.
yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah.
and anyone who's ever read What If knows that a lot of not a lot, but like I'd say maybe a quarter of the stuff that comes into Marvel like 10 years later was originally sort of like softball pitched in a what if. Like,
Okay.
what if Thor was a woman? That was a what if story that it became canon in a different version, but
Gotcha.
that was it. What if Thor became Galactus's herald? That was a what if that became the current storyline. That was the new Donny Cates Thor, started off with that as the first 5-issue arc. So like little things like that have always occurred one way or the other, and it's not like beat for beat, but they're like, oh, I like this nugget and that, and a little bit of this over here, and you just take the parts you like, and you can build your own story after it. So I hope that, especially with now that we're moving past the Skywalker portion of Star Wars, pick your
Finally.
nuggets, man, pick your little things,
No,
and
yeah.
put
I
that
mean,
in
listen,
there.
if we get some of this stuff, I mean, they could maybe, if they can draw for some of this and to use in whatever story they want to use moving forward, great. Because I mean, there's a lot of images they threw at us. I mean, I can't wait to see this. You know,
Yeah,
I'm sure, again, with any anthology, I'm so sure some are going to be okay and some are going to be great. This is
sure.
how it works. But man, that's some really, as a Star Wars fan, this is really cool. This is
Yeah, it looked
something
real
unique,
cool.
very unique, and we're not going to get
Yeah,
this all the time. So
yeah,
bring it on. But Dali, if you haven't seen the trailer, check it out. It looks really
yeah,
cool.
look real cool.
And another trailer trying to put you in a good mood. Not a great mood, but a good mood. Maybe it puts you in a great mood. I don't know. But that is the Eternals. We finally got
Dude,
the first real fat trailer for the Eternals, one that
was
I've been
I
curious about.
did I send you the trailer? Like, I don't think you even knew it came out. I think I let you know, like, look, it just came out, right?
Well, I had seen it, like, it came out like at 5 in the morning. I get up really early
Right.
for work. So
Okay.
it already popped up. But so I saw it really early this morning. I'm like, oh, I'm
Okay.
like, I can barely see. Oh, so I saw it like 3 times just to be sure, and I caught a little bit different every time I saw it. I was like, oh, I missed that, and the gunk still in your eye,
Yeah, yeah.
But I had to see. I woke up and like, oh, come on now. But this one, I mean, yeah, this one looked. I'm not saying look great. Like I wasn't blown away. I'm not gonna go as far as to say that.
Right.
But I have some really cool stuff in here. I'm still kind of curious how this movie is gonna turn out because I don't know. I don't know if the casual audience, if you take away Marvel from this, will people be that interested? I don't know. But there's a lot of cool stuff in here that we saw, and I kind of want to ask you about a couple of things. But just kind of give me your thoughts about the trailer itself.
I was very surprised how much I liked it because once again, Eternals was a movie. I thought if it comes out on IMAX, I'll watch it on IMAX because it's big space ideas. So
Sure.
I didn't know how big they were gonna go because like Guardians of the Galaxy like flirted with big space ideas. You saw a little bit of a celestial in
Sure.
the first thing. They had they introduced one of the Infinity Stones, so it flirted with big space ideas. Volume 2, you had Ego the Living Planet. It's a big space idea, but not too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But like the Eternals is like deep Jack Kirby, big space bananas. So I was like, how Jack Kirby are they gonna get to this? And and as I'm watching, I'm like, okay. And so I was like, I was very pleasantly surprised. And the more I watched it, this trailer made me feel the way I felt when I was reading the Shang-Chi reviews. So I was like, okay, this is better than I thought it was going to be. This is bigger than I thought they were going to commit to. So I'm really excited about that.
It took a little. I saw a lot of Man of Steel in there in terms of some of with the laser eyes and all that. I
Well,
kept thinking
that's
Man of,
that. But
which
that's
is
deep, eternal. Like they've always
which is
done
cool.
that.
It's good. I didn't rip it off.
Right.
I'm just saying the same style, the visual style,
Yes.
like
Very
Zack
much
Snyder
so.
brought. It
Yeah.
looked a lot like it, which is great because that's really cool. That's one of the
But
best
not
things of
so.
Man of
But
Steel.
not as depressing. Not as depressing.
That's impressive. Just the look of it. It looked
Yeah.
cool as shit. 'Cause
Right. Yeah.
we talked about it. Even Man of Steel, it looked great, right?
Yeah.
His
Visually.
presentation, like awesome.
Yeah.
Visually was fantastic.
Absolutely.
So it kind of reminded me of that. A lot of cool stuff. The humor didn't quite work though. And before I get to a couple of questions I have for you, but like the thing in the end was the thing with the table was lame.
I thought that was fun.
I was like, whatever. I mean, I'm curious. I mean, I get nervous about these big ensembles.
Sure.
It's got big cast, and sometimes
I
that
hope
doesn't
that
always
because it's a
work.
big ensemble, not everyone survives. Not to the level of like Suicide Squad, but I
Well,
think because you have a big ensemble, you can like scratch 1 or 3 people off by the time you get to
would
the
you
end.
be disappointed if no one dies?
No, because they're Eternals.
Okay.
So
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, then
you
there's
know,
got to be some. Then there's no stakes, and then they just.
but well, actually,
I mean,
I
I don't
like
know.
this is not spoiling anything, but in the comic books, they just revealed a really big twist to the Eternals' eternity aspect. Because the Eternals have died, and they have a machine called the Great Machine that can bring them back to life. But the Eternals just found out that every time they get brought back to life, it costs the life of a random human on Earth.
Interesting.
And so I hope that if they do see someone die, they bring him back to life, and if they don't reveal it in this movie, in the sequel, they have to deal with the fact that like every time they've died, some random human has died, good or bad, and I see how that
That's
puts that.
interesting.
So like I'm excited about that. So part of the Eternals is that they always live forever, but they have died, but they can come back. But now knowing that, how does that play into the movie, or at least in the franchise moving forward? So I want to see what goes on to that. But yeah, if no one dies, it's fine because you're Eternals. But if
Right,
they
that's
do
fair.
die, but it lead up to the fact that like someone dies on Earth because of that, then I'm like, ooh, now we're gonna
Yeah.
get into some real shit over here. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and the imagery is great. Chloe Zhao, who directs it, was
Yeah.
just got the Oscar. Some of the shots look beautiful. I mean, cinematography is outstanding, right?
The crazy thing is that I didn't know this, is that, or I think you told me, I forgot. She actually did like majority of the movie was like on location
Right.
and not
Yeah.
in a green screen. So I think that's what's
And
leading
she
to
used a
the
lot of natural
shots
light and the things that she
looking
chose.
the way it
Yeah.
is. Right.
Yeah, she made some
Absolutely.
decisions there with that. So it's very, very, it looks, I mean, visually it looks really cool.
Yeah.
Isn't we're going to be good? Let's find out. But a couple of things that stood out to me,
Sure.
you're explain some of this stuff.
Right.
The first one, of course, they showed the guy with like a big machine or whatever it is with the eyes lying down, when they kept saying that, who told you that we couldn't interfere, and then they put that picture of him. It looks, I don't know if
Right.
it's
He's a
is that
deviant.
celestial or something?
Oh,
A
okay, with the
deviant.
guy with the multiple eyes,
Yeah.
the big giant, that's a celestial. The
Celestial. Okay.
celestials,
Okay.
the celestials created the Eternals because they're supposed to protect developing societies. Big idea, put short. The Eternals went through the galaxy, seeding planets to see how life develops on those planets. See if life stagnates on like an animal level, or if they go into a smart humanoid travel, invention thing. And they want to see if a planet develops prosperously or negatively. And if the planet can survive prosperously, it's considered a success. And they've changed versions about what a success means to Celestials, but the idea is if it prospers positively, it's a success. If it becomes war torn and destructive and it's just like a tyranny, then it's a negative. And that's why whenever a planet hits a point of like energy of civilization, mass civilization, the deviants are sent to see if they're strong enough to survive. But when the deviants are sent, the Eternals are there to limit the deviancy, an annihilation of this upcoming civilization to give it time to blossom. So it's almost like the deviants are like viruses made monster. Like imagine COVID, but it's a dragon. So
So the
and
deviants, that the guy who's green, is that one of them that they show? Like he's holding Jolene.
yes, he
Okay,
is. He is. But
looks cool.
in the trailer, as cool as the trailer was, though, I did have one point of contention. Is that
Okay.
I think you heard Salma Hayek say, when Thanos snapped the world back, he took out 50% of the population, and we were told not to interfere unless the deviants were involved. I'm like, well, Thanos is an eternal, but he has deviant genes, so technically you could have, because that's kind of the rule. It's a little bit 50-50, so I can understand why, but no. So
So they messed that up, because I know they
yeah,
kept it was a big
it's
beef
a
about them explaining. Oh, it's going to be explained why they interfere, and then the reasoning is flawed. Basically,
but like I said, Thanos is an
technicality.
eternal. Exactly. But if they wanted to, they could have done it. Goes, well, technically, he's got like some deviant genes. So, but at the same time, he's still an eternal. So there is that gray area. But
Right.
part of it was like, fuck you a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, a little bit. But overall, we'll get past it. It's
I
fine.
mean, the
But yeah,
casual fan's not going to know that. Let's be
they're
real.
not going to know.
Obviously,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't know. So yeah, so I get it. But
Because the movie
by
just as
hearing
a
about it
Titan,
now, I'm
he's not
like,
even as an eternal. So,
right. Hearing it now, I'm
he's a
like,
Titan,
damn,
right?
that kind of sucks. But listen, it looked cool as hell. I
Yeah.
mean,
A lot of stuff looks really cool.
I hope it's really good. We're gonna be there. We're gonna watch
Sure.
it that weekend,
Oh,
or
yeah.
hopefully early.
Easy. Easy.
It looks cool. I guess I
Yeah.
just wasn't blown away, but it looks cool. It could still be great. Don't get me wrong. Because
Right.
I'm really curious about this film. This is one of the ones I kind of really wanted to see what they were going to do with.
Right.
We know what Spider-Man is going to be like in Doctor Strange to some degree.
Sure.
But this one was something. It's like an unknown quantity for me anyway. It's just like, let me
Right.
see what to do with it. So very cool. That being said, let's talk about some shows. We got one show ending, 2 shows hitting stride. So let's get to it here. And of course, we have the first one here, and this is one very near and dear to your heart and our hearts, of course. That is the Bad Batch, which had its finale. And I have it. You can't see this, Eric. I have a picture of it. You're gonna see it on YouTube later.
Okay.
But there was something I put something on here which I was so hoping I would have gotten, and I had it ready. I have it prepared here. You're gonna see it. I had this ready to go.
Is it a
all
picture
excited.
of Omega dying?
Kind of. I had it ready, so let me get out of the screen real quick. But I had it all ready to go. I was like, man, this is gonna be perfect. I can't wait.
Sure.
But alas, that didn't happen.
No.
And a lot of things didn't happen in this show. But I'm gonna let you take the reins here and talk about the finale. Which I'm so glad we're finally done with this show for now. I really am.
Here's the thing about the show. The show did what we had hoped it wouldn't do.
Yes.
That's literally what it did, which is it reestablished the status quo, but more precisely. And no, I don't want a precise status quo. We needed the status quo to shift and elevate the danger, and they didn't do that. Yeah. So as much as I like the twist of like, oh, he actually did get the chip removed and he's still pot committed to the Empire. That's cool. Mm-hmm. Then take it up that notch already. Like, yeah. I didn't need to see them still being awesome together and still going, but we disagree with each other's opinions. And it's like, no.
And that's the very thing we talked about 2 weeks ago, last week, that we did not want to commit one way or another.
I know. And of course, Omega really didn't do much except reconfirm the reestablishment of the status quo. I was like, all this episode must be driving Jose insane right now.
Oh, dude, I'm watching. I'm like, God, I was just hanging on when she's on the water drunk. And it's funny because my stepdaughter, she was there, and we haven't seen. She doesn't see a lot of the episodes, right? She kind of got off the show, but she popped in. I'm watching. I said, oh, you're watching? As the last one, she's like, Omega's still alive. I'm like, I know, but look, she's on the water. She may drown.
She might drown.
I'm like, damn it, so. We soak together afterwards, get a little hug and say maybe next season, maybe just. So it just didn't work.
Yeah, I know some Star Wars fans are like, no, it's so good because I'm like, no. Because all you did for the last 2 episodes, like, guys, look at this pizza, and the slices are all pre-cut. Are you gonna eat it? No. But look at it. It's all. Can you see how all the slices are divided? Yeah, it's called a pizza. Just eat it. No. Next season.
Yeah. What a God.
So I was like, all right.
I'm not excited about next season at all.
Yeah, it's disappointing because like I am super hyped for Book of Boba. I'm super hyped for The Mandalorian. Sure. And so there's no and some people I've heard people say, well, it's the first season, and if you know anything about Filoni animated series, the first season is always the biggest drag. And I'm like, I get that when you're still proving who the fuck Dave Filoni is.
Right.
We know who he is.
Yeah.
We know everything about it. So there's no reason to do this. You should have come in with a sledgehammer and like, this is how we do Star Wars now. Like, The Mandalorian was slow, but it was intense and it was captivating and
it was well made.
Well, and so like there's just no reason to do slow and methodically informative. Like I'm done with
16 episodes, mind you.
That's what I'm saying. If you would have done that for 8 episodes, I'm like, okay, that 8 episodes, they just want to establish the world. I get it, and I know there's tons of Easter eggs and references for stuff in other series and stuff in the. I get all that. Don't care. It was a disappointment. It was a well done disappointment, but it was a disappointment only because nothing changed since episode 1. Yeah,
and it's such a big no-no when it comes to any show or movie.
Not these days, man. You gotta have momentum, progress, even if it's just a side character. Like you and me talked about it. If the ending would have been this whole thing where it would have been Crosshairs versus Hunter. And then you brought back Cad Bane and Fennec Shen, and it was like who's trying to fight for the soul of Omega? Like who is she gonna side with? Like does what she see change her like put stakes to it?
Yeah, and there was none. Some real conflict in that.
And there was none. There was just like now we understand everybody. Like okay, cool, but I understood everybody episode 4. So
I got to the point now where like I'll give the next season. I'm gonna give it 2 or 3 episodes. And it better hook me on. I really don't want to sit through another 16 episodes and get this kind of crap.
Yeah,
I really don't.
if it's the same thing, I'll give it 2 or 3 episodes, and
Yeah.
I'll just check in on the last episode and go, what
Right,
happened now?
exactly.
And
Yeah.
that's
Or if I hear something, oh my God, this
yeah,
gets so much better, fine. But yeah, I can't go through this again. I just,
yeah. So
it's
that
disappointing.
that was a disappointment.
Yeah,
This
big
that
time.
was a disappointment. Yeah.
But something that was not disappointment. Something, let's move on because this cleanse the palate here,
I know.
if we
Thank
will.
you.
And
Please.
that is episode 2 of What If, where we talked about the first
Ah,
one, where yeah, you really
yes.
liked it. The
Oh,
first one, I thought
dude.
it was okay. And I was saying that this episode I thought was going to do exactly what I wanted the show to do, and that's exactly what it did.
And I told you
Right?
that they
Well,
needed the
yeah, I figured
first
it's going to get
episode to
better.
kind of give you an idea of what the show's going to be like, and then you go
You
wider
could have
and
released this
weirder.
first, and we would have been just the same.
I don't
But
know. I think
yeah, I
people would
think
have
so.
been it would have been too shocking for people. Like
I don't think so.
the
I don't think so.
so
Because people
for
are
you and
watching
me,
it, they're aware of the premise. Like the
for
diehards are
you and
watching
me,
it.
yes, but like for the regular Joes, we talked about like what's the regular Joe appeal to the series. I think when you watch it in order, episode 1 kind of sets the tone, and episode 2 goes, oh, and look what we could do now, and
Right.
it's like going up a staircase. Even though from what I've heard. From people, some of the other online reviewers, they got the first 3 episodes, and everyone said the second episode is the best episode of the 3.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they're bad, but out of the 3, the second one's the best. But they never said which is the second best episode. Is it episode 1 or is it episode 3? So I want to see what's gonna happen. But this episode was it was everything pacing wise that was awesome about episode 1, which is a very brisk, very tight packed, very action forward, but bigger ideas, bigger change of characters. I mean, the introduction of T'Challa as Star-Lord, the way that Peter Quill thought he would be, how people react to him, but that's how they react to Star. Was like from that moment on, you already knew like, oh, this is a whole other ball.
Yeah,
Like,
because this one, unlike the last one, like that affected everything, right? All
Yeah.
kinds of characters changed the whole. They didn't just give us Guardians 1, right? It kind of started off the way a little bit, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
And I was like, oh, but then it went in a whole different direction. Like, oh, okay, that's awesome, right? And who T'Challa is, which is kind of sad that it's Chadwick Boseman and all that. But
I know.
the impact he had on Thanos, which is funny as hell. Him,
Dude, I mean, Thanos became a Ravager, and he like T'Challa literally talked him out of being a genocidal mass cosmic murderer. Like, he made a good point. I was like, holy shit, you see your point?
And it was funny. He kept saying, "But it's efficient," whatever. Yeah.
Great callback,
gag.
Joe.
Yeah,
Great
great. Yeah,
callback.
cool. And so it was really
Absolutely.
cool. I mean, and obviously you got Nebula looking a little bit different, obviously, because of Thanos.
I
changed.
love the fact that Nebula called him Cha-Cha. Like,
Yeah.
like it was like this. To me, the whole premise of this episode felt like T'Challa's Ocean 11. Like, it was a team of guys with a double, triple turn and a plan within a plan that you didn't know about. And they even had that little thing where they're talking about the way they're going to run the scam. You hear the drums go, and I was like, oh, that's great. Like, I've seen so many heist movies where that little drum solo kicks in, and that's how you know the plan is kicking in. That was like, this is it. This is awesome. They even did it in Ant-Man. I think that was actually the same sound they had it in the first Ant-Man when they were yeah. So when he was talking about like, okay, so I know a guy, and so like I all that was, I mean, so many musical cues from not only Guardians but Black Panther, letting you know what's going on and getting excited. Probably so far the biggest returning cast of original actors on an episode. You had Chadwick Boseman, you had Michael Rourke, you had Josh Brolin, you had Kieran Gillian, you had Sean Gunn, you had the dude with the taser face. He came back. Seth.
His name.
The dude from Family Guy and Robot Chicken. Seth Green came back. Seth Green came back as Howard the Duck. Like, it was even Benicio del Toro came back as a collective.
Was that him? I wasn't sure if it was him. Okay,
that's the thing. It was even the pink slave girl who died in Guardians 1. I was like, they brought back like almost everybody. Even the dude who played Ronan's second in command, that T'Challa ends up recruiting him. That was him too.
Okay. Oh,
so they brought back everybody.
Jesus.
I was really impressed with the fact that and because that script was so tight and so good, it kind of makes sense. Everybody goes, "Oh yeah, I want to do this." Like, this sounds like a lot of fun. It does a lot of fun. I love that Thanos had a kind of like his own Incredible Hulk moment.
Yeah.
And I love the fact where Thanos is known as the Mad Titan. So that part when she's like, "You can't stop them all. What are you, crazy?" He goes, "No. mad. And I'm like, that's awesome. I'm all in for all that. That's
Yeah,
great.
it was
Yeah.
really just so well done. And I mean, listen, if this is the best episode, that's fine.
Yeah.
I hope not. I hope it exceeds this, but this
I've
ends up
heard
being
I've
this
heard
ends up
the other
maybe
episodes
the
get
best
better.
episode. What happened?
I heard the after episode 4 is really good. I heard
Okay.
episode 4 is really good,
Okay.
and then 5 through 9, they start building the stakes up to
Okay.
a combined a concept that keeps getting better, 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 better.
Okay. No,
And Chris Hemsworth is going to be in it too. So I mean,
yeah,
Chris
of course,
Hemsworth
yeah,
is
yeah.
great. So yeah,
I
I
know
can
the
only
next
see
one
it.
is a kind of Avengers vibe from what I hear. It deals
I
with
don't
Avengers.
even know, to be honest with you. I don't
Yeah,
even
no,
know
I've heard
what
that
the
it's
third
like
one
an
is.
Avengers kind of thing. So we'll see
Okay.
where they go with that. But
Okay.
this is exactly what I wanted to see. I hope they continue it again. With I don't expect it to be this good all the time.
Yeah.
Because this is
But the fact that
this is a great episode. It
the
really
fact that they can pull this good
Yeah.
is I was never this excited about a Bad Batch episode.
No, not even
But
close.
so I'm saying if you can get us hyped on your own show like this, that means you have the potential of pulling that off later. And if your worst episode is episode 1, I mean you're sitting on gold. It's gold, Jerry. It's gold.
Oh, awesome, Jerry Seinfeld. But yeah, absolutely, this is a must. I can't wait for the next one. We'll talk about next week. But yeah, hopefully.
By the way,
if it takes a step down, that's fine. I expect it to, but it's maintain the quality.
One quick reference. So if you remember, Star-Lord ended up being revealed that he was half human, half celestial, right? And because he's the son of Eagle Living Planet. When the Collector captures T'Challa, he's like, "You're just a human. You can't do anything like fly or shoot lasers out of your eyes."
Right.
Like the Eternals, who were created by the Celestial. So it's funny you're talking about the lasers out of your eyes. It's like, dude,
That's
you don't
funny.
even realize the connection reference they're trying to go is like he was looking for a human Eternal, kind of like a Star-Lord is supposed to be, but it wasn't. But it's making a reference. I was like, oh, I like that. Real subtle, real small.
That's cool.
I don't think anyone's even caught that reference, but that's totally an Eternal Celestial reference right there. Real subtle. So I'm looking forward to stuff like that.
No, yeah, absolutely. So hopefully the next one keeps pace with this. It's really good.
Yeah.
The last show I talked about, and we talked first couple of episodes last week, and that was, of course, we had Titans on HBO Max.
Right.
And we can finally talk about the third one because we got to talk about the third episode. And are we spoiling this or no?
No, yeah, we can spoil it because
Okay.
we did it because you hadn't seen the third episode. That's the one thing I was holding on.
Okay, good. So so listen, I think both agree the first two are really good.
Yeah.
The third one I thought was great. This is the best 3 episodes that this show's ever had.
Yeah, absolutely.
By far. I mean, it's fire.
Hands down.
This started as fire. It was great. And let's get to it because obviously, damn, the balls in the show, killing off Hawk.
Dude, I mean, not only killing Hawk, but building the tension
Yeah.
to the death. I was, especially if you've been watching all 2 seasons prior to this third one, you feel for Hawk because he's had his highs and he had his super fucking lows, and he's wanted to kill Jason just because he's annoying, but because he thought Jason might be an addict, that triggered something in him. He's like, I gotta reach out to, I give him that one last shot, and then Jason goes around and puts this bomb in his chest, and there's a countdown, and he's trying to play it cool. I mean, there's a part where because they thought he was gonna die, Dove and him almost hooked up, and I was like, that's not helping your heart rate at all. That's how you end up dying. Like, calm the fuck down.
Seriously. It's a good way to go. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, yeah,
it's a great way to go. I mean,
yeah, but you're gonna take her out too. Come on, be considerate.
No,
so
fair enough. But I'm just saying, it's worth less than that.
And like, the pressure of Superboy trying to hack the code to figure out a way to do it. So everyone's in a tremendous amount of pressure. And then Dove goes to confront Jason, try to break him to save him. And Jason's like, you got to shoot me with this gun so you can stop the trigger. But then it turns out, in an almost very Joker-esque move.
Thank you. I was about to say that. I was exactly
very Joker-esque move.
Yeah.
She goes to pull the trigger, but the gun trigger activates the bomb.
Yeah.
And just as Superboy is like, I got it, and he's like giving it to Beast Boy to take it to Hank, she pulls the trigger and he blows up, and it just knocks him back. And after the smoke and fire swirling, it's just Crypto coming out of the flames.
Oh, that's right.
It is. Yeah. It is a heartbreaker of a moment.
Really, yeah. And you don't see that line in these superhero shows. And it's cool. And the whole time you kept thinking, okay, last minute, they're going to say last second. I mean, the typical trope. I mean, I was expecting it, which I would have been fine with. I mean, I expected, okay, Superboy's going to come in and blow up and he's going to take the thing in the sky, whatever, right? Something like that. But no, and they didn't follow that trope, which is why I love, man. That was great.
Here's one thing that surprised me. And so I felt it was a little bit of like, well, I just want the story to have him die, so we're not going to do this. Do you remember in the first episode of What If, when Steve Rogers is in the Hydra Smasher, they're like, "Where's Peggy?" He goes up, and he just took off through the floors.
Mm-hmm.
I thought when Superboy figured out he was going to fly through the floors and get to him, but he gave it to Beast Boy. And I was like, "Why is he giving it to Beast Boy?" And I was like, "Oh, he does it." I was like, "Well, yeah, because that's the only way he could have died. Because Superboy would have flown through the floors, they would have made it in time." So I felt like the one of the things where people said, and then Superboy flies. He goes, no, we're gonna kill him. So give it to Beast Boy, I mean, and he'll run real fast.
It's ballsy. It adds a lot of. They don't have to kill anybody for the rest of the show, and that's fine. But that really adds the weight because now something might happen. You're thinking, okay, maybe, right? And that's what you need, right? You just need a little extra to say, add the weight, add the stakes. You're right. He was a great character, and it's like, man. That's very impressive.
Because I gotta tell you, really I know they killed Donna Troy in the end of season 2, but her death was almost like, really, that's what killed her. Like
and it was more heroic, and I get it. And at the end, they kind of alluded to where she's not really dead, so they kind of took that away a little bit.
Right, but this is like, there's no coming out of this.
It's a wrap,
and it's all Jason. It's all on Jason.
Right.
Even if you're like. Even if like because of what you saw in this new episode 4, even if they were like, oh, well, it's not Jason because Jason's kind of been maybe corrupted, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck. That's on Jason. Like that is on Jason, hands down.
Exactly, and which leads us into episode 4 because obviously, and I expect this episode to be as good because after that high, you kind of bring it down a bit, right? You kind of just okay.
Well, they brought it down back to season 1.
It wasn't a great episode. It wasn't.
It was not.
Yeah.
It was because of the first 3 episodes were so. Correct. Good.
Yes.
So surprisingly good.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was like, man, I'm still all in. Don't get me wrong. It's one episode. It's fine, and I get it because you have to process what happened. I understand that.
Yeah.
You slow it down because you can't just have Hank die and then everybody just go out there.
There was no funeral scene. There was no people grieving. It was like a week later.
It was really quick, right? So it was surprising, but nonetheless, I mean, yeah, it was weird. I won't go as far as say it was filler because it did move the story forward.
I told you, it moved the story forward. But to me, this episode was called Blackfire, but this episode should have been called Budget Constraints because there was a lot of stuff going. Yeah, that's why. I was like, no, that's not why.
It got expensive. You got to cut a little of that cheese away. I get it.
But no, then don't do. If you can't afford a consistent series, don't go bananas in the first 3 and make me think this is how the whole series is going to be from now on.
Well, and maybe this could be just a little speed bump. That's all. I mean, listen, you're such a high. I'm not expecting this low, but it was going to come down. We just knew it was.
Here's the thing. When forget the whole Jason Todd Nightwing part of the storyline. When they go to save Blackfire, which is Starfire's sister, the fact that they go to this military complex with just one dude in there, I'm like, motherfucker, you can't hire extras? Like, there's no budget for security. Yeah, I was like,
okay.
And then he's like, well, if you take her, the government disavows anything. It's just your responsibility. I'm like, that's not how the government works.
It's like, okay, yeah, it was weird. Like I said, it was definitely a down, but I think we both agree we're not out. We're not out on the show, nothing like that. This next episode needs to hit it, right? Bring us back.
It was to me, it was unfortunately a very regressive episode instead of an episode that on the quality of season 1, quality of season 2, and so far the quality of season 3, episode 4 felt like the quality of season 1. Which is a lot of like, we're just going to skirt stuff here and do this just to move the story along in our own terms because we can't afford X, Y, and Z. Right. I'm like, then don't do that. Like, I would have rather seen a whole episode of everybody grieving. And
this is what I thought we were probably going to get.
You want to save money, have a grieving episode. And then because of that, while they're grieving, Nightwing goes, and the whole Nightwing portion of the show could have stayed.
Right. That part worked. That's what saved the episode, right? Even the ending, that saved the episode, right?
Yeah,
so
that saved the
luckily,
episode.
Right? Because otherwise it would have been a waste of time. But you're right; they could have just, he got pissed off. He's like, "Let's go get this guy," and then transition to what we saw at the end of the episode,
and then save the budget to actually make things feel like it's important. And I felt like there was even with the little parts where like while like Nightwing was fighting Red Hood in the forest. There were like little budget cheats and things that I was just like, okay.
Low lighting, which is an old trick oldest trick in the book.
Yeah,
which is fine.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I get all that, but like, you could have just had a grieving episode and the Nightwing B plot, and you would have had a really like you want to save money. That's how you save money. And then you could do Blackfire on like episode 6, and so you could like build up the tension again and actually hire 20 extras to make it look like it's a real important thing.
Just one guy.
So
that was weird. I guess it was not a good episode, but whatever. Listen, the first 3 are so good. I'm still in the season. All they can do is pick it back up, which is they can get worse than what just happened.
No, well, you're right.
I would hope they don't get worse.
But that's what I'm worried about. Like I hope this episode 4 isn't like now the rest of the season is like episode 4, and then the last 2 episodes become like episode 1, 2, and 3 version.
Right.
Like I think that would be a waste of a season. I hope not. And
I think I got a feeling it's gonna be fine.
I hope so. I hope so. But I mean overall, let's just talk about this week in total. If you're an X-Men comic book fan, you're going to be a little bummed out, but it's not the end of the world because there is a confirmed light at the end of the tunnel. If you are a Kung Fu superhero fan, you got something really cool to look forward to. It's not going to blow your mind, but it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah,
maybe even a second watch, depending on, we'll talk about it when we get there. If you're a Star Wars fan, you got blue lightsabered. That's you did not reach Force Climax, and it was disappointing. If you're a Marvel fan, damn it, it feels good to be a Marvel fan right now, but also a little bit of a bummer because as great an episode is, you're just reminded like T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman is not with us anymore, and it was a bummer, but damn it, he's so good at what he does, and it was a great episode. And if you're a Titans fan, just take a break, go to bed early, and check it next Thursday and see. Hopefully, it'll be a better episode. We don't know yet, but we're gonna find out.
And even more, you forgot that rejoice, Star Wars fans. There's no more Bad Batch.
There's no more Bad Batch, and we have Star Wars Visions coming. It looks exciting, and
that cleanses the palate a little bit from what we just saw on this.
And Eternals looks like it's going to be space monster fighting, and who doesn't like that? So I mean, there's a lot of good stuff out there. A couple of hiccups, a couple of like disappointments. Well, one disappointment, but overall, it was a very good nerd week. And we're going to go into more some of the stuff we're going to talk about this week later on. And there's so much more stuff coming in next week as well. But guys, that has been the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, please support the channel by liking and subscribing to the channel. It helps us out so much, like everyone else who does YouTube says. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on all those social medias. On Instagram, we are on Nerdsplaining Pod. On Twitter, we're Nerdsplaining _. If you want to listen to our audio episodes, all of them are on ericdasilva.com. As long as you get my album, Adorably Offensive. If you guys are in Northern Florida or Alabama, I will be performing at the Block Comedy Club this Saturday in Fort Walton, Florida. So do come by and check it out. I'm looking forward to getting drunk and telling a lot of dirty jokes with people. So come by. And don't forget, Monday, Jose will be doing his in-depth review of Shang-Chi. So we'll check that as well.
12 o'clock Eastern.
12 o'clock Eastern. And guys, as always, this has been Nerdsplaining. My name is Eric Da Silva. That has been Jose Romero. And if you don't know, now you know. Peace.